Welcome everyone, Simon here from the Whales of Wall Street. We have an Algorand video for you guys today, ALGO on the exchange. Just had to double check that was correct in my head. Guys, before we go into this, don't forget to smash the subscribe button and of course hit that like button as well. It absolutely massively helps the channel and of course helps deliver more education to more people faster and quicker. Guys, thank you so much for the support of the channel. We went past the 10,000 mark last night. Absolutely over the moon. So thank you for all your support and watching these videos and hopefully learning something along the way. We're always learning every single day for sure. So let's go straight into this topic, guys, before we go into the chart. So just quickly, Algorand managed to hit its all-time low actually a few days back. Actually, the date specifically 17th of August, so literally about 7 or 8 days ago now, the all-time low, August 17th, 2023, 7 days ago, at 0.088. So this is quite interesting in the sense, of course, we're in a bear market, and of course, loads of things going around the world that are just pretty much making the whole market in general quite stagnant and a bit boring. And this is, in my opinion, the best time to be buying and keeping an eye on it for sure. But of course, Algorand is still in amongst this whole situation with the SEC about the securities aspect, which is kind of a bit frustrating, of course, considering when we've covered in the past, Gensler obviously heading the SEC at the moment, came out a few years back, 2019, saying how amazing Algorand was, and then fast forward 4 or 5 years, and they're now kind of deeming it as an issue, which is a bit of a crazy situation, really, to be honest. And this whole aspect of like security tokens and things like this is absolutely bizarre. But I've always had this notion, I had similar thoughts and processes in my mind around the likes of XRP, great example, where I just said, this is all theatre. Like, are they suppressing things on purpose? Are they just trying to keep it as low as possible to keep buying it up themselves? Who knows what goes on behind closed doors? Absolutely. But I still have a massive confidence in Algorand, particularly with their involvement with a lot of the CBDC projects, not just here in the UK, but worldwide. I've met a couple of their individuals of their team at some of the various Digital Pound Foundation events in the past as well. Great team. Of course, as I said, the updates aren't huge in more recent times. I do think that has a massive element towards this whole situation with the SEC, perhaps not having too many eyes on things. But, in amongst all that craziness, there is still things going on in terms of integrations and development of projects, and ideologies around why people want to use the Algorand as a blockchain and as a solution to their services. One thing that was quite interesting and picked up on in the last 24 hours was this integration of the Ripio app. So this is very much around the orientation of introducing more opportunity for on-ramping with fiat currency. I believe particularly with Algorand, this is USDC orientated. But it's good to see this, and I think this is another operation that you can see a lot more of this over the next few years, specifically about on-ramping and making this easier for traditional users of website browsing and things like this to actually go, oh, actually, I have quick and easy access now more than ever before for cryptocurrency. Why do I want to use cryptocurrencies and which tokens, etc., depending on what you're trying to do. And I think what's really interesting from my side of things, I've translated this, by the way, with the Google Translate. So if some words are a bit messed up, it's not my fault. But yeah, it's very much, you can get the gist of this about crypto wallets and the digitalization of currency, of course, which is going to be worldwide adopted over the coming years. Here in the UK, we've had the recent laws passing through Royal Assent, and most of them going live officially next month around trade finance digitalization. We've got cryptocurrency, stablecoins, digital currency in general, passing by law, and the usage of all these things as well. Regulated or regulation for sure is still developing, but definitely coming worldwide as this branches out. Now, I want to pay quick attention to this. It's always worth in our minds, not just from an investments perspective, but just general knowledge to understand, like, okay, cool. Algorand we get, yes, okay, disappointing in the price charts at the moment, but from the longevity perspective, I see a massive opportunity. And I always like looking at the different markets that we're in these different areas. So Argentina in particular, of course, population of roughly around 45-ish, maybe even stretching to 46 million people. It's quite a lot of people. But what's really interesting and staggering, 5.6% of Argentinians own cryptocurrency right now. This is as of 2022, so the number might be higher. Of course, this kind of like scales, in a sideways movement in bear markets and things, that people get bored and don't do much with, buying and selling. Well, most people do. If they've been in there long term, they understand what's going on right now as good opportunities. But a lot of people just phase off or whatever. And I think that's a big point. When we get this on-ramping service to utilize cryptocurrencies how we want and pay for things how we want, or buy them in a quicker and more efficient fashion, with the likes of things like this Ripio app that is built on the Algorand network, and utilizing it with the integration side of things, it makes the opportunity for mass adoption more clear in everyone's heads. But this is quite staggering. 5.6% isn't a huge number, but when you look at it from the population level, 2.5 million people. Now, of course, this is just Argentina. The whole world, accommodates bigger numbers, of course, but this number will increase over time. And when you reflect that on the point that, okay, cool, more and more people are using crypto, fantastic, but now we really need to start the utilization of it, the real world asset classes, the utilization of cryptocurrency, how we want to define it ourselves as people, as users, consumers, etc. So when you've got these adaptations coming in from these partnerships, these solutions like apps, it opens up the doors, the floodgates, if you like. So as things progress, as regulation kicks in, more and more people than ever before become more confident and more streamlined with cryptocurrency and how it works, what you can use it for, all these mechanisms, economies coming in of tokenization, like play to earn, learn to earn, walk to earn, whatever. It's all coming. It's pretty crazy. But this point being is that there's a huge opportunity for growth, and that will in line come all the way back through eventually to Algorand, as people need to use those algo tokens to keep developing, to use the actual chain itself. And that, of course, then reflects on the price point in the future. So for me, I look at it in two ways. Yes, there's some partial disappointment in the sense that it is dropping, and it has that kind of movement in this kind of market. No one really wants to see all-time lows in this period of time, and particularly for projects where I personally have sat there and gone, wow, Algorand, this is a great opportunity, it's absolutely huge, and seeing that. But on the other flip side, it's quite exciting to purchase and accumulate at these roundabout areas. Yes, we had the lower marks. It's traced back up, as we see on the screen right now, 0.096 as a recording. So we're edging back towards that 10 cent, which is really good and positive. It might come back down lower, absolutely. But in the grand scheme of things, of course, the longevity pattern is that this will fly up. And the all-time high back here in 2019, albeit really strangely here with the data, I'll have to double check this, but even in that marker of 21 and 2022, didn't even hit these highs or go beyond that. So there's, I think, some projects and assets, certainly within the financial industry, people always like, if this is so big, why is the price so low? And it's just purely because not everything has been fully switched on yet. And particularly with financial orientated projects like Algorand, Quant, XLM, XRP, etc., when that switches on, it's gung-ho. Pretty much. So for me, I look at that as an opportunity to say, wow, even at this all-time low or the current price, or even if it was like 15 cents, I've been buying Algorand at various different prices. I think that's a good, personally, not financial advice, but dollar cost averaging is an important strategy when you're trying to remove elements of risk, and take things at the different various stages that it comes at price point wise. I think there's huge gain potential here. Even just to get up to that dollar mark from here is an absolutely phenomenal opportunity. And on that note, guys, I know we've got a bit of a basic chart here, but I always like to jump into the proper trading view charts here. So we can see on the screen right now, this is this whole pattern really of this downward movement has been going on for a long time. Pretty much, really, you could argue from 2021 when we had that big upscale conversations going on across the globe, really, of all these mechanisms around NFTs, etc. And then the big dip down. And since then, it's just been progressively dropping. And it's quite staggering, really, because there's not too many projects and charts that show that full momentum in such a way. But for me personally, I'm quite interested because yes, we've had the recent all-time low. It's matched very, very closely to that March 2020 opportunity that many people saw when the market crashed, worldwide, etc., etc. That all-time high, by the way, back in 2019 is very much reflective on launch price. So you take that with a pinch of salt. We could argue that it did have a relatively successful period around 2021, taking it up to $3. So it wasn't massively far off. But yeah, it is quite interesting to see it come up to those dizzy heights and then all the way back down here to around 9 or 10 cents at this current point in time. So there's plenty of movement forwards. And at the current stage, the RSI at the bottom left-hand side here, we see 14-day at 35, 28 days showing 38. For me, as many of you know or have been watching the channel for some time, these are great bite points for me personally to be going for. It's showing me not just from a visual representation, but also data-driven wise from these relative strength index numbers at the bottom left to suggest that there is more upside than there is downside. It's very common sense, obviously, but if you are a day trader or a regular trader, I'm not. I'm a long-term holder, but I try and find the opportunities regardless at the low points based on data and what I see in front of me. And of course, even things like the fib retracement levels, albeit not 100% accurate, they do give you a very good reflection on pinpoints of where traders are probably looking to put their positions in buy and sell patterns. So very much so at the moment in time, we're balancing back. I haven't dragged this line back down to the new all-time low yet because I left it in there purposely because we're now matching back up to that area. So the options at the moment are very much, and again, common sense, that we will stabilize ourselves back in this period, whether it's announcement driven or just more confidence kicks in. We for sure may come back up to these levels and start retesting the higher grounds again. However, there's always, of course, a definite opportunity for lower spectrums of price point to come back, not necessarily back to that all-time low. Potentially that could be the low that we see with Algorand, who knows, but it may at least drop back down to this previous one that we had back here, which was on roughly the 10th of June, which is why that grey marker is there currently. You see the pattern's quite interesting actually if you zoom in a bit more detail, how that tracked back down. It didn't support and it flopped back further, so it pulled itself back eventually and it closed itself back up here at 9.3 cents, and then we took it very, very slightly upwards. So these are the kind of two areas of interest from certainly a short-term trading perspective, but opportunity. And for me personally, I'm not majorly fussed between 9.6 cents and 9 cents on the nose as such, but for sure in general it is always nice to get those lower positions when possible. But as I said, the upside is absolutely a possibility over the next 6 to 18 months, as I truly believe the next bull cycle will be fully driven around CBDCs and AI, etc. The big switch on of the RTGS. So 2024 into 2025 is going to be really exciting in my opinion. And just to kind of think about that a bit more, let's just have a quick look at price range, because if we take these lower regions, I'm just going to put it around about 10 cents because I can't quite see it from that low spectrum. If we got back to, again, ignore the actual original all-time high, but let's just go back to the data point of where we went to structurally in the last big bull run. That's a massive uptake here. So let me just get these silly lines out of the way. There we go. Taking it all the way up there from its current position, 2,000, nearly 2,900% gain, which is absolutely phenomenal. And again, this is all speculation that we would actually get back to that level. There's an argument to say that once we have the adoption and the utility kicking in and we start structuring some support around these good areas between $1 and $2, giving it a real big structure for us to push properly past the levels and test, well, the next levels up, guys, are accommodating longer term fib retracement levels I'd be very surprised if it gets to 7. Who knows with how many people come in. But certainly one key area and target is that $4.77 mark. So bear these comments in mind, guys. It's been really interesting to come back to these in a year or two and see if it actually happens. But that's staggering. 4,600%. Absolutely huge. In fact, actually what I'm going to do is just put in here, we'll just put a little note, 25th of August, 23, as a note, just to put that marker in there. Let's see if it comes in. And we spoke about it at this point. But that's a target area for me. And for sure, if we do get to those levels, even the previous high here back that we saw in November 2021 at $3, I'm going to have to do some sales for sure, because it'd be stupid, even probably at $1, to be honest. I think we'll go through that strategy and structure as we get to those points. I'm not really going to hypothetically talk about my positions of selling right now. I'm personally not in a position to want to do that, or really need to do that. But sure, everyone's got their own strategy. You probably got your own thoughts as well, but absolutely taking profits is very important. And you'll probably see a big switch in YouTube channels and videos as those momentum of bull cycles come in. The narratives will switch from accumulation conversations to selling points and buy back in points as well, of course. Performance side on the right hand here, it's up slightly on the week, which is pretty good considering the last few weeks have been pretty abysmal, but we're on negative on the other points here. However, albeit that we've had this very downward structure for a year or two now, it is stabilizing, and these year to dates and these year ones are coming down slowly. There's a lot of charts that are showing real big fluctuations in like the short term ones and long term ones, and this one's quite balanced. So it's kind of showing me that we're coming towards the end of this phase, and I'm not putting a timeline on it, but I do believe in certainly going into 2024 there has to be a switch around as we switch on these mechanisms in the financial systems and everything around the world. So for me, that this is really defining a point in my mind where, cool, actually there's some structure building here. Yes, it's low and it's not as high as many would maybe want it to be, but be patient, guys. Things are coming, things are happening. Things are still going on, even though the SEC is doing its thing with Algo. I'm sure that will switch around at some point, no doubt in my mind, for sure in the near future, and we'll start seeing this balancing out and taking up to new levels. I truly believe that. But guys, it's very much a bit of a wrap up. I just wanted to make sure that we had a look on the oversight of where we can possibly get to with Algorand and the future beyond that as well. And as I said, don't get too hung down on price points and, oh, it's doing this, it's supposed to be doing this, why is the price low? Just remember where we are in the whole development phase of blockchain and crypto in general. There's plenty more to come, plenty more integration, utility, and regulation still to be defined in the majority of countries worldwide. So hang in there. I think it's been an exciting ride. I'm holding on to Algorand with, diamond hands, and for sure, I'm looking forward to the future and accumulating as and when I can those ALGO tokens. Guys, thank you for watching this one. We'll wrap that up there. We'll see you in the next Algorand update video. Take care. Bye-bye.